All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's your boy, your neighborhood Prince of Botch. You know it, the one, the only, Dwayne Dickey in the house. What's going on, people? How you feeling? Welcome to yet another edition of the Life's a Botch podcast, brought to you by Six Families Incorporated, where you can probably listen, if you're not already listening right now, to on sixfamiliesradio.com. I've got a very, very special guest in the house. Y'all already know how I do. I got guests on guests on guests on guests, man. That's how we do this thing, man. You know, life's a botch. We're going to bring all kind of people. So this person in front of me, the also beautiful, also powerful, also athletic, and, you know, I'm an advocate. I was an advocate of my last guest, so I got to be an advocate of my current guest as well because, well, shoot, how can I not put this person over and let y'all know she is my client right here is the next big thing. She is the most athletic among all that is athletic. She is the one, the future. And not to mention, the future NWA Power Women's Champion. No doubt about that. Those 10 pounds of gold are definitely going to be around her waist very sooner than later. Mark my words on that. So, Thunderosa, I hope you're enjoying it while you can, because it will come to an end very soon. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please welcome my guest on today's show from NWA Power, Miss Kamille. Brickhouse, how are you doing, ma'am?
I'm good. Thank you. That was quite the introduction. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Welcome to the show. Thank you for the props on the introduction. You know, I try to always give my guests something epic, something to get them riled up and ready for what we're about to give the audience right now. Because, you know, if they ain't ready, they're going to be ready now. So that being said, ma'am, as you can see, we were talking a little bit before the show started. You just got back from the gym. So I take it where you are, that means gyms are definitely open, right? So
yeah, they've been open for a while now, actually. I feel like I don't even remember when they were closed.
Well, you know, and it's funny because I did see, you know, of course, like many other people, you were getting it in during this interesting turn of events with quarantine life. And, you know, your Instagram definitely showed you were getting it in, you were doing it however you needed to do it. How does it feel being back in the gym, even though they've been open for a while? What was the experience like when you first stepped foot back in the gym since the pandemic, which is still technically going on in a way?
Yeah, I was just happy to be in that gym atmosphere rather than my basement, because we managed to kind of go on Facebook Marketplace and find a whole bunch of good deals and get our little basement gym together. And so that kind of held us over, but it's just, for me at least, not the same as when you kind of have to drive to a gym. So that motivates you already because you're already putting in the time and effort to drive there. And then you get there and there's other people working out, which kind of is motivating as well. And at first, you know, a lot of the movements that I wasn't able to do in my basement, they felt a little weird and everything felt extremely heavy. But now I feel back, you know, back in the groove of things. So we're good.
Okay. Well, awesome. It's glad, you know, always good to be back in that gym life, because I mean, you know, the at-home workout is definitely a good experience, no doubt. But I don't know, it's just something about, as The Rock would say, being in that iron paradise, you know, just clanging and banging and being able to have your full weight set and do what you want to do without having to get, you know, very improvise a little bit, you know what I mean? And just kind of come up with your own, like lifting milk cartons and everything or whatever, you know, you got to do. So, now, Miss Kamille, now it is an honor to have you on Life's a Botch because, as we know, you've been very critical of interviewers. I mean, your voice, it's an honor to really even just hear your voice right now, because for a while, you literally entertained the idea of not speaking. What made you suddenly feel like you wanted to be heard now? Why did you grace us with your voice now?
It's just because, I mean, even before when no one else kind of out in the public had heard me speak. It wasn't like I wasn't speaking all the time. The people that I chose to speak to, I did, those close to me. I just didn't feel like we live in a society today where people are very entitled and they think they deserve everything and anything, especially if you're on social media. They think they deserve to know all about you, even stuff like hearing your voice, stuff like that. So I was like, you know what, screw it. You guys don't deserve a thing. Anybody. I ain't gonna talk to nobody. And then one day I was like, all right, I've been around a while. I do have some people out there that are actually, supporting me, and I got some things to say. So I just decided now I want to talk. And like you said, that doesn't mean I'm still talking to everybody. I mean, I have people wanting to do their podcast and interviews and stuff all the time, and I don't do a lot of them. So I still am picky and choosy about when I choose to speak.
And there you see, ladies and gentlemen, this is the example of what I was talking about. See, even in a moment of an interview like this, you see how the screen freezes? Do you see? That goes to show that Kamille will talk when she wants to talk. Ha. Now, let's resume video. Miss Kamille, are you there?
You just went through a little bad spot right there. That's what
Yeah, and I like that it happened.
That's service problems, but we're through now.
Yeah, no, look, it was the perfect moment for me to tell the people this was the example of you'll never know what's real and what's fake, because I continued, the show must go on, and I just had to continue to show y'all. Like, I talked to the people, let them know, like, see, this is what happens. We don't get to talk to Kamille, but on the Life's a Botch podcast, your boy is such a talker, a smooth person. Everybody loves coming onto the show to express themselves. But for a brief moment, she had to show y'all. Y'all can't always listen to her feelings.
At any moment, it can be taken away.
Oh, man, Miss Kamille, so much to talk with you about. And what I would love to know, you did a promo when you did finally decide to speak to the audience and let them hear a bit about Miss Kamille Brickhouse. You went down your journey, and you were in an interesting league known as the Lingerie Football League, the LFL. Like, okay, there we go. I'm sorry.
When I played, it was no longer lingerie. It was Legends.
It was Legends.
League. I didn't play the model era. Okay.
See. And that, I'm glad you see, this is why it's Life's a Botch, baby, because you see, even then, a botch will be taken into place. But see, she made it very, very clear, and that's why I said thank you for clearing up that botch on my behalf. Yeah, but still,
no problem.
Nonetheless, you did your thing, because I saw a lot of your highlights in that, ma'am, and you were definitely one of, if not the best player out there on that field right there. You were dominating, as you mentioned. Talk about your experience with that, please.
So, yeah, a lot of people actually think that I started my wrestling journey after that. But the truth of the matter is I was already down in Florida training at Team 3D. That's where I did my training at. And I had been training for about a year. And I'd reached the point where it was time to kind of go. I was able to do matches on the independent scene. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, what can set me apart? What's going to make me different? And I was thinking, everybody thinks of their gimmick and stuff like that. And I remember a friend of mine one time telling me about the LFL. And I was like, I feel like there's not like a female football player gimmick. And I was like, but I don't want it to just be a gimmick. I was like, that's fake. That's stupid. I was like, so let me take my ass and go play. And so I took time off of wrestling, and the thing is, I kind of grew up being an athlete, so I really had no qualms about going there to try it out. I knew I'd make the team. So the closest team was Atlanta, and I drove all the way from Florida to Atlanta, tried out, made the team, and then I had to make that drive every single weekend for practice. So it was like 12 hours every weekend of driving. And I mean, practices were no joke. I will be honest, I thought because in that league, we're not getting paid, nothing like that. So I thought it'd be a little bit more laid back than it was. Hell no. It was like playing a college sport all over again. The coaches were kicking our ass. I broke my hand like the second practice.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was no joke at all. That was definitely the toughest like contact sport that I've ever played in my life.
Whew, man, and that's the beauty of football. From one physical sport to another physical sport, it just goes to show exactly how tough of an athlete you really, really are at the end of the day. Because neither one of those are a walk at the park. So
right.
The fact that you were in there, it really does explain a lot about your dominance, because we saw your in-ring debuts and we saw, you pretty much manhandled a lot of your competitors so far to this point, and you're going to continue to knock them down because that's what you do. You are a dominant presence. So do tell, explain to the people who don't really know, if they didn't get it by now, explain to them some more about Kamille and what makes her the next big thing in pro wrestling.
Well, I just think the difference is a lot of people that get into wrestling, it's because they grew up wanting to be a wrestler, and they kind of don't do anything else with their life, which is great, and that's fine, and that really makes them have, focused on wrestling. But my dream was not to be a wrestler when I was little. I always grew up and I played lots of different sports. I mean, every possible thing that you can think of. So I think that's something that makes me super different, is that I am an all-around athlete. And then when I graduated, I played Division I softball. And when I graduated doing that, I got into doing strongman. I won my very first strongman competition. And stuff like that kind of sets me apart.
Man, that is phenomenal. I mean, again, just so many different athletics within this woman. I mean, the fact that you are able to just dominate every sport that you've been in, and you take that and you let them know, this is not a gimmick, people. I really dominate in these things. And right. I love that and how you stand out. So now, you did mention that you didn't really necessarily grow up in wanting to be a wrestler, but you were familiar with pro wrestling. So it was a sport you acknowledged and
I grew up watching it with my dad, ever since I was little. I grew up watching. I got into about high school. I stopped watching it in high school. That's probably that's when a lot of people kind of fall out, of watching wrestling. That was my brother calling, and I declined it, and but the screen went right back to this, and I thought but then it was like frozen. I was like, oh shit.
Hey, don't worry. Look, every time that happens, I got your back. Don't you worry. I'm an expert at these type of things, and I know how to talk to the people.
Do not disturb, so we should be good now.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So, yeah, like with your watching wrestling, like you said, you were saying you stopped watching in high school, typically, like most people do, and so what got you kind of back into wanting to explore that world, and then B, how did you come about in just saying, you know what, I dominated in every other athletic, so why not give this a try and dominate this as well?
Yeah. So what happened was, I graduated college. I had my degree. I was like, all right, I'm going to take this degree, have a normal job, wear suits, power suits every day, be in the office and do my thing. And then I realized, this sucks. I hate this style. It's just not for me. It just didn't mesh well with me. So I moved back home for a little bit, because I had moved out to California for my first ever job. Moved back home for a little bit just to try to regroup, figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And during that time, me and my dad, one night, he was like, hey, you want to go watch some wrestling in so-and-so out in the middle of the boondocks? So it was some random indie show, and I can't even tell you the name of the promotion. And I don't want to, because terrible, just absolutely terrible show. But I was having so much fun. It was one of those shows where it's like the quality of it is shit, but it's so fun, everybody there, and it's out in the country too, so the people there, they were into it, they needed a security, to keep fans away from the wrestlers. And I woke up the next morning and I was just like, had an epiphany. And I was like, I'm perfect for this. Like it's a mix of acting, which I used to do when I was younger, and sports. I was like, wow, have I never thought about this? So I opened up my laptop and I Googled how to become a professional wrestler, because it's a really weird line of work if you don't know anybody that does it, which in North Carolina, like the Hardy Boys, but you know, I don't know them personally, so I couldn't sit there and ask them. So I just Googled it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you know, you got a lot of people beat in that aspect, because you know, today it may seem a little easier because wrestling schools are like kind of all over the place in a way. You know, like living here in Atlanta, we know that you know, Cody Rhodes and them have, you know, their wrestling school out here now, and like there's so many stationed out just all over the place where you know, you still would Google it, but a lot of times you can probably just find it, you know, in a way, and it's just like, oh, cool. But at one time, it was like, if you wanted to get into this business and you didn't really know how to go about it, if you didn't know anyone personally, it was kind of like,
Exactly.
I gotta figure this thing out. So, so did you have any, you know, I mean, a woman of your stature probably doesn't really need any, but just out of curiosity, did you have any influences in this business per se that made you say, you know, I like that athlete, I kind of want to model myself after them a little bit, you know?
No, not for necessarily modeling my work. I did obviously had favorite wrestlers growing up. Like I loved Edge. I liked Edge. Obviously I was little and had a little crush on him, number one. Number two, I liked that he was like, you know, the backstage segments and stuff, he was funny, but it wasn't like he was a comedy wrestler. Like you took him serious as a wrestler. So I really enjoyed that about him. Obviously Rock, Stone Cold, you know, like everyone loved them during the Attitude Era. And then Lita, I loved Lita just because she kind of did all the, like, she was very athletic to me compared to the other girls. So but now that I'm a bit older, I watch a lot of like Bruiser Brody, Undertaker, like old Undertaker stuff. Like that's kind of what I like to, you know, stylize myself after. That mixed with a little bit more of like athleticism, which nobody has even seen yet. And that's my favorite thing. Like, oh, well, she doesn't have any moves. She doesn't do anything. Y'all haven't seen. I don't have to show it yet. You know, y'all haven't seen anything, and it might not be another year till y'all see everything I can do.
Yes,
so, that's it.
Listen. You don't even have to speak. Don't worry, Kamille. I got you. I'm your advocate. You guys want to know about what my girl Kamille can do? Let me tell you something right here, right now. You better come out with some serious cash, okay? Because if you ain't got the cash to stunt, you ain't gonna see none of that. All right?
Amen.
No flips, just fists. Yes, I stole a line from the FTR, but I don't care because it applies to my client as well. So you know what? Until you start showing some money out of those pockets of yours that you call pockets, you ain't gonna get jack diddly squat. That being said, hey,
you got it.
You know how we do it. Listen, I got your back. Don't worry. Don't worry. These people ain't gonna know about it. They gonna know about it when it's time. Okay. That being said, speaking of time, I need to know. The time is ticking before you win this NWA Power Championship. And I need to know exactly what way do you plan on going about winning this championship? Do you plan on just coming right up and just taking it? Do you plan on beating up a couple of people along the way to just kind of showcase your dominance, or is it just kind of a means of right place, right time? Like, what's your strategy into that?
So my strategy is I just want to dominate, and whoever they put in there in front of me, I'm going to dominate. And honestly, I know this sounds terrible. I don't need a title. I don't need it. People, like you said, they're going to pay to see me work no matter what, whether I have a title or not. But the only reason I want to take that title is because for some people, that's all they have. And if they don't have it, they ain't going to be nothing. So I want to take it just to be mean. And that's it. That's the only reason I want it, is just to take it because that's somebody's baby. And I just don't want them to have it anymore. And so it'll be mine.
just rip the heart straight out of them. Just take it.
Absolutely.
Take it. And I love that. I love that. That is such a nature to live by. You take it just cause, for the fun of it. I don't even
for the fun of
it.
it.
But for
Yes.
the fun, I'm gonna take this from you. And that, you know, says a lot about you as a dominating presence. And I would love to really know, what's it like, you know, because you have a nice partnership going on with you know, the man, the face of the NWA Power, the man, you know, holds the 10 pounds of gold himself, Mr. Nick Aldis. Like, what is going on there with that dynamic? Because first it seemed like there was a little tension there, you know, at one point, you know, quote unquote, not allowing you to speak when that was already squashed. And it was like, no, she can speak whenever she wants to speak. Go ahead and speak. And then, you know, seemed like there was a little bit of a rift there, but then before you know it, boom. No, just when you thought that relationship was over, it got stronger. So tell the people what's going on there. What's that dynamic like right now?
Well, we had to kind of, you know, get people off of our scent of creating strictly business, because obviously people know in my day-to-day life and everyday life, I'm with Tom Latimer. That's my boyfriend. And so a lot of people expected, well, wouldn't they get together? So we had to kind of throw off the fact that, like, instead of me just going with Tom or staying with Nick and then bringing like Royce on and stuff, that there's a problem there. So we couldn't let people know that this big faction, this strong faction, was about to be created. So that's why we had to kind of, you know, pull that. And then when we finally made the faction, like you said, now everything's stronger, better than ever. Nick was just up here at our house in Clarksville yesterday, and we were filming some stuff for Carneyland, and got in the ring and was working out in the ring. So I mean, I get help from not only Thomas Latimer but Nick Aldis. So I got a really good support system.
Yes. Just adding to your dominance. I mean, two dominant men on their own right, literally helping you become that much more dominant. It's a beautiful thing, you know. And speaking of Mr. Lattimore, hope he is doing well, by the way. I would love to know, like, again, as someone who lets people see what they want to see, you gave the fans the opportunity to actually see that there was something going on there. So where that narrative was just like, oh, well, I guess we now know where that partnership stands and lies. So explain, what made you now say it's okay to publicize? I'm going to let y'all into my world to see this. What lets you grace the people with that?
Oh, that's because that is my man, and he is sexy, and he is my everything. And so I'm like, I show him off all the time. That's my man's. So that's all it took for that.
Oh my gosh! Like any now tell me though. Of course, and I love how you just really glorified that. You know, just like, hey, that's my man. That is the arc of a true down woman right there. When you just put that man on a pedestal. So tell me this. As competitors, both of you being competitors, and of course with how dominant we know that you are, is there ever any competitive tension there sometimes amongst you two? I mean, you know, we know he's had gold. We know you can get gold at will when you want to get it. You don't necessarily need it, but you just emphasize that you want it. So when you do get that gold and you've accomplished that mountain, you know, just for the fun, and knowing the goal that he's hold, you know, like what is there any competitive tension there? Like what's that all about?
No, like I want him to live his dream and make it as big as he can, and I know he feels the exact same way about me. He's always like, baby, you got to be my sugar mama, so go ahead, make some money, you know. No, but the only time that maybe it's a little bit competitive is like working out and stuff, because we're always joking in the mirror like, oh, you know, flexing and stuff. But I mean, that's just lighthearted type of fun competition. That's probably the only place where there's like a little bit competitive spirit is in the gym.
Yes. Okay. Nothing like some gym competitiveness. I'll tell you. You ain't gonna outwork me. Watch me lift more than you. No, I'm gonna out cardio you today, because anything you can do, I can do better. That's a beautiful thing. I love that. So Man, listen, Miss Kamille, I'm telling you are a phenomenal presence. And I mean, just the fact that you people, yes, you should be glorified right now. I hope you are gracing this woman with heavy comments of praise, okay? Because the fact that she is on this screen, or if you're listening at home in your stereo, the fact that you can hear this in your beautiful ears, okay? Yes, I said beautiful because you are beautiful, but don't get that to your head. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you still don't measure up to my client right here, and I'm here to let you know. She still dominates everything you do in your sleep. All right? So, therefore, Miss Kamille, tell the people, why should they tune in to NWA Power aside from the obvious answer of the fact that they can just watch your dominance in the ring, hanging out by the side of Nick Aldis and helping him maintain that championship and all that good stuff? I mean, what other reasons do the people who probably don't know about NWA Power or haven't had a chance to check it out, why should they check it out?
So people should check out NWA Power for sure. Most likely if they're listening to your show, they're already wrestling fans. But the thing is, we've had so many people that came across NWA Power just from, like, say, my Instagram or another person's Instagram, another person's YouTube page. And they weren't even wrestling fans before. And they like it because our product is different. It's definitely the only truly, truly, truly different wrestling product out there right now, because it is studio wrestling, and that hasn't been done for ages. So we have a little bit of everything for people. We have serious wrestling, we have a little bit of comedy in there, and then of course we have the best promos in the marketplace. We just do. No one can beat our promos, because guess what? They're not scripted, they're not planned out. We play off of the fans, which, I mean, like I said, no other company's doing that. So that is why people should check out NWA Power. Not shitting on other brands. Everybody has like a specialty and something they do well. But I will say the promos and stuff like that, no one can touch us. So that's why people should tune in.
Ooh, I'm so glad you said that, because, man, you were definitely telling the truth. Spot on when I say the promo work at NWA Power is so phenomenal. Because at the end of the day, it ain't wrestling if you ain't got the promos. Everybody loves a great organic promo. And boy, you guys, every last one of y'all cut those promos, and the way the fans interact, it's just amazing. So yes, please, if you're listening, if you never checked it out, check out NWA Power. I'm telling you, you won't just see this awesome dominant presence in front of me. No. You get to see so many other great people, both familiar, new, future, past, present. That's what I love about it. You guys got people from a little bit of everywhere, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Now, speaking of past, present, future, as someone that I glorify and make so well known that is the next big thing and the future of professional wrestling, I would love to know, as the future, we've seen some of the present names that you've dominated so far. Are there any past legends? Even with present, we got some free agents out there on the market that kind of hit the scene this year. And there's some rumors going around that some of these free agents might be making their way to NWA Power pretty soon. Now, you got your eye on anyone in, the free agent market, or any legends in the past you would like to get in the ring and dominate at some point in time in the future?
I tell everybody that I don't have dream opponents. I have dream moments. So in my head, when I picture, certain things that I like, goals of mine in wrestling, I never really picture who it's with. I just have that moment pictured in my head of what I want to happen, how I want the reaction to be, stuff like that. But I will say, I think a cool match for me would, and I think it would be a big time money match. It can't happen right now because she's under contract, but would be with Mickey, Nick's wife, just because, there's obviously a sort of connection there, and she's a fucking legend. She's a badass herself. So I think that would be a really, really cool, interesting story to tell. And I would be honored to get in the ring with her. So I think that'd be super cool.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is definitely a money match. Definitely, hopefully, very soon in the making. In the meantime, I will say, Miss Kamille, you are a phenomenal talent and you are the future of this business. You are the future that is going to dominate more than any of them have ever have and wish that they could. So I will say, my final question for you, Kamille, is when does Kamille decide, hey, you know what? I've snatched that heart of gold and I put that gold around me even when I didn't need it. I've conquered every single opponent that stepped foot in this ring with me. There's nothing left for me to do. So I think I'll just go on to do more athletics elsewhere. Or maybe I'll just call it quits as a whole, kind of do my thing, and dominate another field some kind of way. When does Kamille decide to do that?
Hey, I can't. I have no time limit on that at all, because especially a female body is a crazy thing. We have certain time clocks as females. One day I would love to have kids. Honestly, the day I'd probably call it quits is probably when I would have kids, but that is in no time soon.
Come on.
So, I mean, I think I got years ahead of me of just kicking ass, taking names. Even if I go into other fields, which like I'm already doing my YouTube thing. I'm sitting here, I'm kind of going back to my softball roots. I'm giving the hidden lessons. So I have my toes in lots of different ponds, if you will. But I'll always be doing wrestling too. I'm always going to be involved because it's something that I've grown to love. So even if I'm not in the ring, I still want to be backstage helping out in some type of way.
Yes, and that's a beautiful thing, and I could tell. I mean, you are a very intelligent woman. You definitely have other ways because people don't understand. You can dominate with your mind too. You don't always have to dominate with your body. You can always dominate with your mind. Hello, people. Kobe Bryant, rest in peace. Did he not tell you about this thing called a Mamba mentality? And my client represents that very, very well. I don't know if you guys can tell, but that Mamba mentality is real and it exists in every athlete living and breathing out there. So, but this athlete right here probably has it the best of them all. So therefore, I'm just here to let everybody know you did mention your YouTube, and this is where I like to really kind of tell the people, go ahead and tell them how they can find you, how they can follow you, and what they can check out on your YouTube.
Yeah, so my YouTube and Instagram, the names for that, if you just want to type in Kamille with a K, Kamille Brickhouse. And on my YouTube, I can't tell you what I'm going to have on there because I just have ideas pop in my head of what I'm going to do. So I'll have anything from makeup tutorials to some craft videos to me just ranting. I mean, it'll be anything. And then on Twitter, it's at Kamille with the K, Brick, because there's not enough room for Brickhouse. So just at Kamille Brick.
Awesome. Well, Miss Kamille, honestly, I'm going to cut this short strictly because they don't deserve to hear any more of your voice right now. Okay? I mean, at the end of the day, that's all they're going to get. You hear me? That's all you going to get. You ain't going to get no more of this. That's done. All right? So, as a representative of Miss Kamille Brickhouse, I am going to cut this right now short. And I'm going to let y'all know, if you want to know more, either pay or check out her social sites when she decides to show you what she wants to show you. Okay? Yep. So, if you don't get that, I'm going to say it one more again. Make sure you either pay or wait for her to grace and decide to give y'all a presence to show. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, this is your friendly neighborhood Prince of Botch, right here representing Miss Kamille Brickhouse, the next big thing and the future of not just NWA Power, but professional wrestling as a whole. So stay tuned. And well, as always, until then, you have officially been botched. Peace.